Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm here again. I want to thank all of you for the tremendous response to the initial offering. Because of this coronavirus around and most of us are homebound and having time on our hands, I thought there was something that we could do that would bring benefit to us as individuals, as members of the Sikh community, and as persons. So this was something that I wanted to share with everyone, and it seems to have turned out quite well, because I've had so much of feedback, wonderful feedback from friends and from well-wishers and people I know and people I don't know, who have sent me messages, asking me to continue, asking me to share some more. And so I'm quite excited by the prospect, and maybe I thought I would like to record 1 or 2 videos, and some of them said I shouldn't stop at 1 and 2. The others can be audios. I understand audios are easier to listen to, although I personally prefer videos because I always like to know who I'm listening to. I will wait for feedback on that one and see how we go, but 1 or 2 definitely I will record as videos so that we are able to interact. So let's keep this going and see how far it will take us. I have some dreams, so let's see how far this will go, and whether through these humble efforts I can revive the memory of the greatest leader in human history, and therefore the greatest empire in human history, as nominated by the historians who took part in the survey that was conducted by the BBC, as mentioned in the previous video. So today what I would like to do, these are tasters, basically these are tasters, because you're going to do a lot of the homework yourself. You'll probably be curious enough to go onto the internet or get books or something like that. I have a whole selection of books which I will show you the covers and whatever you might want to get those. But while we are heading in that direction, maybe I can just give you a little bit more tasters about this amazing man, this amazing man. And I want to start with his kindness. I want to start with his kindness. There are so many aspects. I mean, this guy was no ordinary human being, but there's so many aspects to him. And I wanted to start with this aspect on kindness. Some of you would have heard some of these little stories, that exist, and these tales that came out of his kingdom. You would have heard about the times, he used to dress up. He used to dress up as a peasant. He would dress up as an ordinary man, dress up as a citizen, and he would go out of the palace, and especially at night. At night, when men had finished their day's work, and they would gather around corners, talking politics, discussing the kingdom, discussing the British, the threats to the all of these things. Like what we do with our WhatsApps and our emails. We talk about our governments, what they're doing and stuff like that. So this used to happen on the streets. So if a king wanted to know what his subjects thought of him, the best way to do that would be to be where the crowds were, and he would sneak into the crowds and he would listen to what his citizens had to say about him. That's how he governed. That's how he was able to govern his state to a level of perfection no other king had achieved. Then he would help people. If he saw someone in need on the streets, and he would go out not only at night, he would go out in the daytime as well. Don't forget, in those days, hardly anyone knew who the Maharaja looked like, what he looked like. I mean, there was no pictures. So unless you had seen him at an event or a function, you wouldn't know. And it would be so easy for that person, for the Maharaja to disguise himself just as an ordinary man, get out onto the streets, and there was times he was abused. I mean, the person who was abusing didn't know that they were talking to the Maharaja directly. And there was people, swearing at the Maharaja because his officials were not doing certain things that they were supposed to do. And then he would attend to those. He would not only attend to what he needed to attend to, he would attend to those officials as well. They wouldn't get away with it. So here we are. So this is how he generally there's a beautiful story about how one day he saw this poor woman, and he went up to her and asked her what she thought of the Maharaja, and she had a whole mouthful for him. She gave it to him. Of course, she didn't know that he was the Maharaja. He ends up having a meal in her hut, in a broken, leaking hut. He sits down while it's raining outside. He has a meal of just boiled gram, boiled dal, because there was nothing else she had. And he sat and ate with her, and he listened to all the abuse she had for him. Of course, the next day she found herself fully taken care of. And that's how he looked after his subjects. But going beyond this, there is one incident from Maharaja Ranjit Singh's life that caught my attention. I remember I recited this story about 25 years ago in Sungai Siput Gurdwara. It's an amazing story. The Maharaja had a routine every day. He had a routine. He would wake up in the morning. He was a pakka, he was a pakka Gursikh. As pakka as a Maharaja can be. He has many responsibilities and many obligations to all the different religions, all the different communities. We will be talking about all those things later on. He used to rise early in the morning, do his ishnan, take his bath, and then he would go to the Chota Gurdwara that was in his palace grounds. Or some days, the Granthi or someone would bring the Shri Guru Granth, they would bring to the palace, and he would listen to the part from the Guru Granth Sahib. That was his first thing that he did every morning. He may not have done a formal Nitnem as we have been instructed to do since 1935 with the Sikh Rahat Maryada and that. In those days, there was no Sikh Rahat Maryada. So the way of the Sikh was to listen to Bani, and they listened from the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. He would listen to a reading of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. After that, he would have his breakfast. After that, he would go for a ride. He would get onto his horse. This was daily. He would go for a ride, and then he would attend to his official matters. On this particular day, they had somewhere to go. The reason for this is not mentioned, but of course every day he went out into his domain, every day. I just mentioned to you, he just wanted to know if everything was in order. He went out every day, and this particular day, as he is riding along and his courtiers are following him, there will always be a few people, one or two bodyguards, you know that this man's life was under threat at all times. That he had so many people trying to harm him. So there was this little delegation following him, and out of the blue, a stone came and hit him in the forehead. Before he knew it, his whole face, there was a huge gash. His whole face was covered in blood. Blood dripping off his mustache, blood dripping off his beard, blood on his clothes. Everyone rushes forward to help him. While they are doing that, members from his bodyguard went looking to find the culprit who would have thrown that stone. In a few moments, they bring this group of boys. There's a few boys, 4 or 5 boys. And the boys have no idea why they've been grabbed by this huge bodyguards, soldiers, whoever, and they are being dragged. And the poor little kids are tearful and crying. and they are brought to the Maharaja. After calming the children down, and this is the Maharaja, not his officials, not his servants, this is the Maharaja. After calming those boys down, giving them the confidence that no harm is going to come to you, don't worry. But he says, I just want to know why you threw that stone at me. And it looked like they were like street urchin types, they were from poor family, street kids. They were just street kids. And one of them, the braver amongst them, said, but Sahib, we did not throw the stone at you. And he said, so who were you throwing the stones at? And they said, we were throwing stones at the mango tree. There was a mango orchard that the Maharaja delegation was passing by. And these kids were in the orchard and they were throwing stones at the mango tree. And he said, why were you throwing? And they said, because there were ripe mangoes there. We were trying to bring down some mangoes. We are hungry. And we saw these beautiful mangoes and we wanted to get some of them, so we threw these stones. Now watch what happens. The Maharaja tells his courtiers, let's turn back. He takes everyone back to the palace and instructs his ministers, the person who will be delegated for this task, to go to the treasury and bring a bag of gold coins. Everybody is like, what is going on here? And he instructs, go to the Toshakhana, the treasury, bring me a bag of gold coins. When the money is brought, when the gold coins are brought, he lays the gold coins in front of these boys. And he says to them, take as much as you can, fill your pockets with as many gold coins as you can. At first the kids are nervous, they are frightened. They've never been in a palace before, surrounded by all these grand looking men and this fearless Maharaja with a reputation for being fearless. He's the king. He assures them, go ahead, gives them the confidence. They fill up their pockets. I'm trying to keep the session short. They fill up their pockets, he pats them on the back and sends them off home. Says, go home, be happy. You can imagine the surprise and the look on the faces of his officials. After a few moments of stone silence, somebody picks up the courage to say, Maharaj. We will talk about his Maharaj part as well in another session. He never allowed anyone to call him Maharaj. He was to be called Singh Sahib, because he said that Maharaj is the title only for my Guru. He never allowed anyone to call him Maharaj. He was called Singh Sahib. Singh Sahib is a title of high respect, but it does not equal Maharaj. It does not equal Maharaja. But in his humility, the humble man that he was, the God-fearing, God-loving, Guru-loving man that he was, he never allowed anyone to call him. And if the person was older than him, he didn't even allow that person to call him Singh Sahib. That person was to address him as Pai. Pai Ranjit Singh, the greatest man, the greatest leader on this earth, wanted to be addressed as Pai. by Ranjit Singh, by those who were his same age, Hamjamati, and those who were older than him. That is how his protocol was. That's the kind of humility with which this man lived. And coming back to the story, they asked him, "What have you just done there? These kids threw a rock at you. They threw a stone at you. They've injured you. They've split your forehead. You're covered in blood. For heaven's sakes, you've given them all these gold coins." He said, "I want you to think for 1 minute. These kids go every day to that orchard and they throw stones at the mango tree. And what does the mango tree do? The mango tree gives them sweet, juicy mangoes. And that's a tree. And I'm the Maharaja. If they threw a stone at the Maharaja is far more capable than a mango tree. I can give them much, much more than what a mango tree can give them. That's why I gave them those gold coins. Those gold coins. And this is the thinking of this man. There are 8 billion people on this planet. I cannot think of one person, no matter how sensitive, loving, caring that person might have been, to have been capable of such thinking. And this is our beloved Maharaja. This is the kindness with which he reigned over his people, over his kingdom. And this is why the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, the Sikhs, everyone loved him for what he was. So that was today's session. I just wanted to give you a small taster about this journey of discovery about this great man. This whole section of our history, 170 years later, which we are about to discover, his entire life was whitewashed, as we heard yesterday. It was removed from all the books, taken away from us and denied from us. And now we are going to, one by one, discover. So today we talked about this incredible man and the way he thought, and this inspiration came from Guru Nanak. This is exactly the way how Guru Nanak would see something. And this is how blessed we are to have had a Maharaja like him. So that is my sharing for today. Maybe the next session I can talk about aspects of his bravery. And maybe in another session I want to talk about his daughter Sophia, granddaughter. Princess Sophia is another story altogether. After all, she was the granddaughter of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Doesn't matter she was brought up a Christian, doesn't matter she was brought up as an English woman. The traits, the character traits, they ran through the family, through the generations. So here we are. Maybe I'll take some more time tomorrow or day after and record another session for you. After that, we will be going into audios unless I get a different feedback, and I will start showing you materials as well, whatever that I have. And let's meet again soon. Meantime, I hope you guys also hit the keys a little bit, see if you can find something interesting. Please forward that up into the group. Some of you have subscribed to the YouTube account. Thank you for your support, and I hope I'm able to keep inspiring and motivating all of you. Thank you ji. Waheguru ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru ji ki Fateh.